How do, boyos? You know me, I'm the Foxman, but you can call me Zach. Let me tell you a little secret about myself. I kinda like mixed bags. No, not those kind of mixed bags, although I do like those. I'm talking about video game mixed bags. These are basically what would happen if you took an element from one game, a concept from another, and mixed them together to see what comes out. Sometimes this works, sometimes... Yes. So with that in mind, what happens when you take God of War's bloody combat, Legend of Zelda's exploration in dungeons, and a post-apocalypse of literal biblical proportions, throw them in a blender and hit frappe? You get a cult classic from the madmen of THQ, Darksiders. This is one of my favorite games, and one I always enjoy coming back to. But, putting aside personal feelings, is it an amazing mix? Or is it worse than suicide soda drinks at fast food joints? One way to find out, let's get it on. In an alternate universe similar to ours, the armies of heaven and hell were at constant war with each other. To stop the warring and restore balance to the universe, a neutral being called the Charred Council forged a temporary truce between the two kingdoms until a time called the End War, where the armies of heaven and hell would battle to the last alongside a third kingdom that emerged in the conflict, the Kingdom of Man. To enforce their laws, they created a warrior brotherhood known as the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse: Death, Fury, Strife, and their leader, War. The game begins with angels and demons literally falling from the sky, fighting and tearing everything apart. Amidst the chaos, War appears alone and battles his way through angels and demons alike until something causes him to lose his power and falls at the hands of the demon. Back in the Charred Council's chambers, War is put on trial and accused of riding to Earth unbidden and prematurely starting the End War. The Charred Council then charges him to return to the fallen Earth alongside a being called the Watcher to keep him in check, to defeat the demon general known as the Destroyer, and undo his mistake, or die trying. Thus prompted, a weakened War goes back to Earth to defeat the Destroyer and clear his name. Whoa! I gotta say, while the whole clear your name thing's a bit cliche, this is still a really cool concept. Just the idea of playing through a fictional version of the apocalypse from the Bible's Book of Revelation? That's pretty intense. And playing as one of the Four Horsemen? Even better. So, the story is amazing and does a fantastic job of binding this world together. Darksiders plays out as a mix of Zelda and God of War in exploration and combat, with a bit of easy platforming thrown in for good measure. The combat is brutal and bloody, it's M-rated for a reason after all, whittling down your enemies with combos and finishing off with a simple slash, or using a button prompt for an insta-kill finisher. War fights with his weapon of choice, a giant sword called the Chaos Eater, along with moves called Wrath Powers, which is this game's magic and can be used offensively and defensively. Later in the game, War gains the ability called Chaos Form, which allows him to transform to a Balrog-like form that does devastating damage, but it's temporary, so use it wisely. And of course, what's a Horseman of the Apocalypse without his horse? On the back of his horse Ruin, War's attacks are stronger and quicker, although, like the Chaos Form, that won't be till later. The game also has a Zelda-style exploration of the world in dungeons, with plenty of puzzles and secrets to discover. Dungeons gift you with new items that can be used in combat and puzzle solving, as well as a lot more items that will increase your health and wrath bars a la Zelda heart containers. You'll find souls of various colors all over the place, and each one has a different use. Green souls heal, yellow souls refill wrath, and blue souls are the game's currency. You can trade souls for upgrades for your weapons, new combos, and upgrades for your wrath powers from Vulgrim, the game's merchant. Speaking of upgrades, your main weapons have sockets that you can fit various upgrades in, allowing for things such as more damage, more souls per kill, and etc. and etc. These can be swapped any time, so experimentation is key. The bosses and mini-bosses in the game are fun to fight, as you can't just wail on them with your sword willy-nilly, but instead you need to find a way to leave them open for an attack, kinda like Zelda, and it usually revolves around using the item you found in the dungeon. So as you can tell, the gameplay is a perfect mix of exploration and combat that works well in this world, and is more than enough to keep you coming back for more. Just like the story concept, the design of the world in Darksiders is a really cool concept, in mixing classic fantasy elements with modern, urban, post-apocalyptic elements. That's a combination I never thought would work, but Darksiders blows it out of the water, and again while it's on land. The character models have a kind of World of Warcraft vibe to them, with large hands and feet, with buffness to match. My favorite designs for sure are the demons, mainly due to the idea of their wings being rendered nearly useless due to either being too small to use with their large frames, or flipped upside down so they can't properly fly. That is clever. I also like War's design, as it makes him look strong and imposing while adding a nice mix of colors to keep him from going down the dark and edgy road. So, the design is solid, creative, and very good at adding a fresh coat of paint to the overdone post-apocalyptic concept. The music is amazing, with a mix of orchestra and vocals taking the forefront. Granted, it's not the greatest, but still enough to keep you interested. But don't take my word for it. The sound effects are pretty good, especially the satisfying sound of your blade ringing through the air as it lands a finisher, which is one of my favorites. The voice acting is a bit on the nose though. Most of the characters sound alright, but some have the whole trying way too hard to be cool going for them. One of them unfortunately is War himself, voiced by Liam O'Brien. I get what he was trying to do, make War sound cool by adding a bit of a growl to his tone, but it makes him sound more like a smoker instead.
I fought powerless against the demons, and still you accuse me?
But the guy that steals the show for sure is War's tag-along, The Watcher. He sounds so delightfully evil and sadistic in every scene he's in. Though what else can you expect from the legendary Mark Hamill?
Let's lay down a few ground rules. Until this is over, you're a dog on a leash. I say bark, you bark. And if I have to kick you, you'd better not bare your teeth. Understand? Or should I teach you to play dead? Good boy.
So the music is great, the sound effects are good, and the voice acting, hit or miss. Darksiders is a must for anyone who's a fan of deep exploration and intense combat with a very original concept thrown in for good measure. The game is fun, challenging, and immersive, and I keep coming back again and again. And as with most great games, sequels were inevitable. THQ actually made a sequel to this game before they went belly up, made remakes of both the first and the second game when they came back as THQNordic, and recently made a third game this year with another one in the works even now. But it wouldn't have happened if the original wasn't so good in the first place. This is a fantastic game, and that's why I proudly give Darksiders a 9.8 out of 10. And that was another Foxman review. If you like what you see, subscribe, leave a like, hit that notification bell to let you know when I'm releasing a new video, and who knows, maybe you'll find something to keep you interested here. But, until then, I'm Foxman Zag, and I will catch you guys on the wild side. So long!